right, and I think we're rolling. And Madonna, this is a pre-birthday podcast thing we got going on for you, ain't it?
Yes, it is, Chris. Thank you for remembering.
Yeah. So is tomorrow is your birthday?
Yes, it is.
So well, happy early birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
How do you feel about birthdays? I mean, is this one thing that you try to celebrate every year, make it a big deal, or is it just kind of like, nah, whatever? Just just go on.
It depends. It depends. I am grateful for every single birthday. I look forward to, well, actually, Chris, September is my birthday month.
Okay.
So I like celebrating it the entire month. And if it extends into October, that's fine with me too.
Hey, why not? I mean, shoot, make it a whole national month, for your birthday. What about you, Marcus? You got a birthday coming up anytime soon? What's up?
My birthday's in November. I got a couple more months left.
Okay. Well, right before you got on here, Madonna was saying that you're a Olympic hopeful, or you're training
Yes, sir.
there, 400 meters.
Yes.
Okay, and then
Yes, sir.
okay, you lagged out a little bit right there, I think. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're. I don't know if it was on my end or your end, but we lagged a little bit.
Oh no.
Okay, there we go.
I was just confirming, saying yes, I'm a 400 meter specialist, and still Olympic hopeful.
And you're Madonna's coach, also, right?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, how did that start? That sounds like an interesting story.
Oh, well, I'll let her start it off.
Okay.
I mean, her backstory kind of helps lead up to how we got together.
Okay, that'll work. Take it away.
Well, thank you for handing it over to me, Coach. I was going to wait to see if you were going to start it, but the story does start with me. Chris, I don't know if you had any dreams when you were younger or what those dreams were. I can remember watching this summer Olympics, track and field especially, and wanting to be a sprinter. And once the show was over, I would go out to my backyard and I would play 100 meters, and of course, I won. That's where the seed was planted for me to eventually to become a sprinter. I went on to other things, and the sprinting bug didn't grow and tickle inside of me until I was 57, Chris.
So that many years whipped by, then it came back to you, huh?
Yeah, well, it was 50 years.
Okay.
I mean, there was no track at all. Absolutely nothing. I went into the fashion industry and was teaching at the time, and just this little tickle inside of me said, run 100 meters. And I thought, what is this? and it just kept, it wouldn't let me go. Just wouldn't let me go.
Sure.
My husband at the time, he's since passed away. He had track experience. He helped me out. Got into the Washington State Senior Games, won the 50 and the 100 meters. Turns out I was pretty good at this. and then continued on, went to a national track meet. And in 2014, I was competing again at the state level, ruptured my Achilles racing. Yes, fell over the finish line in second place. And the reason the ruptured Achilles is important is because I would eventually meet Marcus, a woman that he knows who is an assistant track coach at a high school that he coaches at. Mm-hmm. I had reached out to her to be my coach. She wasn't able to do it. And she suggested Marcus, a millennial. Now, Chris, when I retired from teaching, I was teaching millennials. Whoa. Oh, my. And now I had an opportunity to have an interview with a millennial track coach.
Okay.
And it was basically going to be one and done. My original goal was to compete in the 2019 National Senior Games in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That was a goal for my husband and I, but he passed away in late 2018 from his third bout of cancer. And one of the last things he said to me was to continue to compete, build up my thighs, and wear red, white, and blue.
Nice.
Didn't meet Marcus until February 2019. So he had a short period of time to work with me because my meet was going to be in July, and it was basically going to be just a one and done kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Marcus, I'll turn it over to you, and you can share what it was like thinking about coaching a mature athlete, something that was not quite so common to you.
Yes. Normally, I'm used to coaching younger kids, kind of the middle school, high school level. I was never introduced to somebody that was a mature adult that wanted to still run. And when I got the call, at first, I was hesitant because I know for a fact I'm many years younger. Yeah. And for me, I had no clue whether she was going to show me that respect because, you know, I'm taught to respect my elders and to respect ones older than me. But this situation, I was going to be the one with more knowledge. And I didn't know if she was going to be able to take a step back and kind of be in that seat and listen and actually show me that respect and understand that I know what I'm doing and I'm trying to help her reach her goal. And the first day we met, it was a very cold day in February. Like when I tell you it was snowing, and I'm sure in her mind, she thought that we were just going to meet and talk. Sure. But
exactly. That's exactly it.
If you're in track and field, you know, the only time you don't run is if there's thunder. If it's raining, if it's cold, it's snow, it doesn't matter. As long as there's no thunder, you're going to run and compete. So I came to practice ready to see kind of what was going to happen. And she came prepared. I seen she had her tights on and she had her warm up. So I was like, okay, let's get to the track. And within that first hour, it wasn't just all about seeing the potential. Like I seen the way she walked. I watched the way she ran. I seen the potential that she had, but the key was she going to listen to me? Yeah. And I knew I was going to have some drills that I was pretty confident that she's never did before, which I was right. And she listened to the drills, even though she wasn't used to it and probably didn't like it at first. She did it. She asked questions, which means she's attentive and wants to get better. And those are the qualities that kind of led to me wanting to say, hey, let's do this. You have this goal in July and I'm going to help you get there. I told her I wasn't going to be able to be there with her in July due to my track and field schedule for myself. Yeah. But I was going to do everything possible to help her get there. And I believe we had a great year, but moving forward, she did well, but she also felt that she could do more. And so she wanted to have that commitment to say, hey, I want to keep this going. And because of that respect that she's shown me, the desire of her wanting to get better, I said, hey, let's do it. So as long as she wants to continue to run, hey, I'm going to be her coach and I'm going to help her get there. And we've been getting better over the years. We've had some hurdles. You know, last year she got injured, but we're back and next year it's going to be a good one.
Well, it seems like you two have created a great bond together. I mean, just based on that story. I mean, sounds like y'all hit the ground running. No pun intended there, but.
I want to say that was a good one.
Okay, Marcus. Since he brought up hit the ground running, tell him what happened. Tell him what happened.
This sounds fun.
Was it? Oh, yes. Just like I told you before, I knew I was going to have drills that she was never used to. And I had her do a specific drill that was going to help her lift her knees and just help her posture and position. But after she did it slow the first time, I wanted her to do it a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. And during this next rep, she tried to do it quicker, and she clipped herself and fell.
Oh.
But when I tell you she fell, she didn't fall in the most normal fashion. When you think of somebody falling, you think of somebody falling just splat, hit the ground.
For sure.
But this time she kind of fell in slow motion. But so for me, it was just awkward. I didn't know what to do, what to say. Then she laid there for a second. So I was like, is she hurt? There's no way she's hurt. She fell slow. That's what's going through my mind. But I have no clue. So I'm stuck. But then finally I see a smile on her face and she's kind of giggling. So I was like, oh, okay, she's good. And so we laugh it off. But that's just kind of our first moment of just laughing on the track, because she fell. I had no clue whether it was a good fall, bad fall. It was weird because I've never seen somebody fall like that before. It was just a interesting moment.
Yeah, I'd say.
Sure.
It was a Matrix moment on the track.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. Like you're in slow motion, and he's just kind of like, "Should I reach out at first, or what do I do?"
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember
no clue.
as I was falling. I remember looking at his face, and he just looked stunned. and here I am, the oldest client he's ever had, and here we are going through drills, and I have fallen.
Yeah.
And I was just laying there on the ground with the snow falling in my face, and I was laughing.
Oh, man. It seems like it came out okay. I mean, man, that's a great story out of it. Well, so Marcus, I mean, you said you've been coaching middle school and high school?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how does that compare with coaching someone like Madonna and compared to what you're used to coaching? I mean, do you find Madonna easier to coach and learning techniques better, or vice versa?
Well, I would say Madonna has a major hip injury due to a car crash.
Ooh.
And so with her having that type of an injury and her wanting and me want her to be able to move a specific way, it's just harder for her to kind of get used to some of the things that I want her to do. Mm-hmm. For someone younger, they probably haven't gotten to an accident. They might not have some of these body deficiencies that she has to deal with being older and going through a lot more within her lifetime. So when it comes to technique work, it's kind of easier for the youth, I would say, but Madonna still has that drive to still be able to get there. She's done so much better within the years. It just takes a lot longer for her to get it. But like I said, we spend a lot of time to make sure we get better. But what I would really say, though, is that I have to communicate a lot more with Madonna than the youth, because Madonna has been through a lot within her lifetime. So her body sometimes can't take as much on that a younger athlete could. And when I say that, a typical athlete around my age and younger, we probably train about 5 days a week.
Sure.
Like 5 solid days. But with Madonna, I limited her to 3 days a week. But even within those 3 days a week, I had to speak with her because she was my first mature adult. I don't know what her body can take. So she has to tell me, hey, I'm good right now. Hey, my back is starting to bother me. My hip is starting to bother me. These different things. Communication is very key. So I might annoy her because I ask her after every rep, how are you feeling? How's it going? Because I need to know how she's feeling. I don't necessarily have to do that with a younger client that I've worked with before, but it's just a part of the process. We've talked about how communication is so important to us, because the time that she got injured is the one time I wish that I would have said something earlier, because when she's a hard worker. When I tell you right now, Madonna's a hard worker, and she tries to push through everything. And she started to stumble at the beginning of her run, and I knew I should have yelled stop. But she works so hard, and she never wants to quit. She never wants to stop. She wants to make sure she finishes every rep. Mm-hmm. And she kept going, and sad enough that we kind of got a little hiccup injury that we obviously overcame, and we're perfectly fine now. But the fact is, that's just an example of communication with us needs to be important when it's on my side or her side, because it's just very key for her, because any athlete, You can't get better if you have to sit out because you're injured. So our goal is to make sure that every single day we still get the quality of work in that we want, but you got to come out healthy as well. So that's the major difference between her and just a younger client that I might have.
Yeah. Madonna, have you always had that mindset? Just discipline, hard work, willpower? I mean, your whole life? I mean, has that always been embedded into you?
Oh, yes, Chris. Yes, Chris. My fashion background, I was a East Coast corporate executive at a major department store in New England.
Okay.
You have to have you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And you know that mentality coming out of Boston and New York. And if you're in the fashion industry, which is very, very competitive, you really need to have that a personality type, which I have. I am very determined, aggressive. I'm very goal oriented. There are times when Marcus wants me to rest in between drills and I'll be ready to go. And he'll say, we still have time. Right, Marcus? Because
yes, I do that often.
Yes, because I'm like, come on, let's go. And it's just ingrained in me to let's reach that goal. Let's go. Charge ahead. What else do you want me to do?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Which is good and bad, because as a coach, sure, this is his expertise and he wants me to be able to, okay, you need so much recovery time, Madonna, before we move on. I'm in charge here. So I'm a retail executive and a vocational instructor. So I've been in charge of people. And now, like I said, I'm taking instructions from a millennial.
Well, it sounds like you're doing well with it. I mean, taking that step back. I mean, I know in my experience, I've done, I don't know, Marcus, if we told you, but I coach CrossFit on the side when I'm not working. But when I've done seminars and things of that nature, and I'm 35 years old, 35 years young, but there's people who run the seminar staffs who are younger than me teaching, so I don't mind taking a step back, say, if you know more than I do, show me your ways, yeah. So, and I know it's a lot of hard people to put their ego aside and do that, but it's my mindset. If you know more than I, teach me. So it doesn't matter who you are.
Exactly, and that's very important. I'm glad that you brought that up, because your listeners, there may be listeners out there who are older than somebody who is supposed to instruct them or show them what to do. Sometimes ego does get in the way. Well, this young whippersnapper here's telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. Well, if they're the ones with the expertise, you need to have a mindset where you're going to learn, because after all, there's a goal that needs to be achieved. And at this point, you need to be the one to listen, because you're part of the team that is supposed to achieve the goal.
Well, yeah, I mean, teamwork makes the dream work is what I've always heard growing up. So
True.
So Marcus, I mean, so you've been an athlete your whole life. I mean, how did your track career start?
My track career, I've been an athlete my whole life. Okay. Growing up, I played baseball, soccer, basketball, football, all sports in the world. I just love being a part of sports. It's just a way my life is. But in high school, my grandmother told me I need to give track a try. And if your grandma tells you to do something, you got to at least try it one time. Come on, For sure. And I had two amazing coaches my freshman year of high school that kind of showed me what track was really about. And I just fell in love with it. And that's when track started for me.
And did you run in college too?
Yes, I ran at the University of Oregon. For 4 years.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're a Duck fan? That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, I appreciate their uniforms, and I like watching them
That's
play.
Fair.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm over here in Virginia Tech country, so I mean they're literally 20 minutes from here. Okay. So
I got you.
But
Chris,
Yeah.
let me brag on the coach because you said, did you run track in college? You're talking to a multiple All-American, NCAA champion, Pac-12, and plus when he was in high school, he was the best in the state, and he even went to the Junior Olympics a couple of times and came back with some hardware.
Oh, had something
Yes,
wear
indeed.
around the neck.
Yeah, of course. Come on, got to come back with something.
Nice. Did you watch the Olympics this year? Or either one of y'all? Are y'all big Olympics, like watching all the time, like 12 hours a day and hardcore?
Marcus was in the Olympic track and field trials, and
Okay.
you can tell him about that, Marcus.
Yeah, this year I came up short, and just due to a lot going on this year, I just was unable to get over that hump and make the team. And I will tell you, for the last 5 years, I've been envisioning myself in the Olympics in Tokyo. So it was extremely hard for me to watch the Olympics, so I didn't.
I understand.
But I still wished USA the best. I still supported it, just envisioning something for 5 years, knowing that you could have been there, and just with things not going well for me injury wise and all of these type of things, the obstacles that I had to overcome, it just wasn't in me to watch. But I still support Team USA. They still did well. And hey, a lot of Team USA did well in all various sports.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I understand completely. Like, especially, if something comes up short, like you said, or you get an injury, and it's just like, man, I just can't bear myself to, put that much effort into it. But you still want to cheer them on. And I've been down that road before,
Yes.
too. And they got my support, but, I'll just sit at the house and do my thing while they do their thing. But, yeah, I understand that completely, man. Yeah.
Yes.
So Madonna,
I was there to watch him, Chris. I was there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
the trials, yes.
Where did
Madonna was there to support
Where did
me.
the trials take place? Is that over in Washington or
It
where?
was in New Oregon. It was in
Okay.
Eugene, where I went to school.
Got you. So Madonna, what's the Senior Olympics? I've never really paid much into that. Is that you done it already, or that's your goal, or?
It's Chris. The official name is the National Senior Games,
Okay.
and yes, some people do refer to it, and they can refer to it as the Senior Olympics, but that's not the official name.
Okay.
Each state has their own competitions. Recently, well, it was in July, actually the same day that coach thought he was going to be in Japan, the Washington State Senior Games took place. So he was there with his client, and we did win the 50 and the 100 meter event, and it was exciting. And for your listeners out there, sometimes in life you have these plans, like Marcus said, 5 years. You put in 5 years, and you have a dream, and you can really see yourself, visualize yourself in that dream being in Japan. But then sometimes things happen. On that same day, like I said, that when Marcus thought he was going to be in Japan, he was helping me. He was out there, and I was glad that he was, because it's good to have your coach there. And I also felt that it was a good experience for him, and I was glad that he had the experience, because when you're going through something, you can sit and you can wallow in pity, or if you have a chance to help somebody else reach a goal, then that builds character and strength too. Mm-hmm. And he was there, and I was just excited for that. In order to compete at the national events, you do have to compete at a state event. I qualified for the 2021 games in 2019 because we had this, with COVID. The nationals are going to be held in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in May. Marcus is going to be there this time.
Let's go.
And
yeah.
We will see what happens. We will see. Marcus
Stay tuned.
told me, yeah, stay tuned. At one point, he told me, you remember when you told me, Marcus, you said, "You're going to hate me."
Yes.
You know, when a coach says that, because I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, what I have done thus far, Chris, honestly, when you're sitting and you're watching track and field athletes on television, you're there. Oh, yes, they can run really fast. But unless you know, and I don't know if you've run track or anything, Chris, unless you know what's involved, the weights. There's weights. There's all these various exercises and drills. I'm going to tell you the truth. At the beginning, when I first started training with Marcus, I thought about giving up.
Oh.
Because the training between my husband and Marcus was drastically different. Marcus, having had all this training in high school, college, Team USA, well, of course, he's sharing his expertise with me, which is all these various drills that I've never done before. And I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it. When you're trying something new, sometimes you think, what have I gotten myself into? What have I gotten myself into? And then I thought about the last thing that my husband had said about me continuing to compete and realizing that this is Marcus's life. He is an expert. Bless you. He's an expert, and this is how it is. And sometimes in life, you have to sit down and say, this is what I said I wanted to do. This is the goal I said that I wanted to achieve. He didn't know I had this bad negative, thing going on in my head, but I told him eventually that that's what I was thinking. And that's very authentic. And sometimes people go through that. They either give up or they suck it up and keep going. And that would be, of course, my perseverance and my determination and respect for his expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, when somebody find that hard road of resistance, they either keep going down it or it seem to, no, I'm going to turn around and take the easy road back. And, and I like saying this too, just because, and I don't know if it's mentality that CrossFit has built me, but, when somebody says, hey, you need to go do, or the workout is required to go do 50 box jumps and pick up 225, 20 sometimes, like people like doing the stuff like that myself, just because it's hard. And it's like, oh, okay, I want to master myself and my mind to do this. And then for me, it seems to make everyday life easy. Somebody cuts me off, I'll forget my coffee in the morning. It's like, okay, no big deal, I mean, it seems like people are attracted to stuff like that, I think. And it like you said, it builds an extremely better character that, some people might lack. I mean, so
Yes.
and just, I don't know how to put that. If some people are less lacking that now, and if they just realize this, hey, going to pushing yourself just a little bit further, that one little inch will make the whole world a little bit different. So, I don't know.
It would, and I agree with that. I realized the benefits of what Marcus was teaching me after New Mexico. I didn't win any medals. My time was better. And in fact, my time is increasingly getting better. I'm running faster because of my training with Marcus, and even with my ruptured Achilles, and even with my hip, which is remarkable that I'm getting faster.
Yeah.
I realized, and this is for your listeners, that when you're going through something that you've never done before, hopefully you'll get to a point that I arrived at. I finally understood why he had me doing all those drills. It was building up my stamina. It was building up my strength. With him being a professional during his season, I believe he probably has to run every week or every 2 weeks, and he's just not running one race. There are multiple races where he's got to run full out. It is full out for the preliminaries, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. It is all out. And you have to have the strength and stamina to do that week after week after week. After my race in Albuquerque, I felt like racing again. And I was like, I want to run again. And I had never felt like that before. And it's like, bing, that's what the training was all about. And I did say to him that the Washington State Senior Games are coming up in a month. Do you want to coach me for that? He goes, let's do it. Let's rock and roll. And like I said, well, we're still at it 2 years later. And another thing that I confessed to Marcus was I thought that I was an imposter. Do you remember when I told you that, Marcus, about feeling like an imposter? Because I was competing in these races with other people who've been doing this for a while, I just felt like, well, everybody's talking about articles that they've read about sprinting and running, and they travel all around. And I would just sit there and listen because I was new to the sport. And I thought, these people are just, wow, they can talk about the sport, but not like, and I couldn't contribute. So I just felt like I was an imposter. And I told Marcus about it. And I told him that now I felt like a sprinter. I am a sprinter. And I can tell people that I am a sprinter. Yes, I am. Do you know what I mean, Chris?
Yeah, are you talking about imposter syndrome?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I deal with that still to this day too. And Marcus, especially you've been on to a higher level than I ever have. But then you can touch on this too. But yeah, I mean, I have my demons, and I feel like especially I had a competition. Maybe was it last month? It was either last month or the month before last. But anyway, just before you that first event, you're just like, okay, you got the butterflies going. People are going like, why? There's people all around you watch. It's like, this is going to make or break me right here. Then once you finally get going, for me, it's like, okay, you find your groove, you find your focus. But just one time I know that I've missed a rep before, and usually in my events it's a max snatch or max clean and jerk. If you missed your first lift, then all of a sudden everyone's watching. Then I get inside my own head, and I've dealt with that my whole life, and then I'm thinking, well, everybody's out here roughly having the same thoughts, I mean, I would think that, and I could be wrong, but like I said, Marcus, you can touch on that too. I mean, especially when you were at the time trial or the trials. So,
yeah, I mean, for me, I understand. I mean, hey, in all type of situations, I've been taking a lot of time for myself to really just believe in myself and believe in that confidence. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, my event is different than you, because if you have your first rep and, if it doesn't go right, I mean, I'm assuming you get a second chance to try to get it again type thing.
Yeah.
But for me, you get one shot and one shot only. So I've worked on my confidence, because bringing that confidence, I don't have the chance to get a second try. So I have to make sure that I'm at my best mentally before that gun goes off, before I take off. And so we all have them doubts at certain times, especially when I've been in multiple races where I've had 3 bad races in a row. So then that 4th race, do I go in there with that same mindset of, oh, it's going to go bad, I'm not going to run well again? No, I have been in that point before, but now it's to that point where I believe in myself. I know what my body is capable of doing. Sadly, this past couple of years, I've dealt with some injuries and some different things, but we're changing that. I'm going to make sure I'm a lot more healthy this year to be able to show my full potential that I know that I can. But For you, for any listeners out there, we all have those doubts sometimes, but find your way to truly believe in yourself. And whether that means kind of looking at the past, things that you've done, and kind of having that remind you of, hey, I've done this before. I know I can do it again. Maybe it's some positive words that you give to yourself before you go up to the line, before you go up to that rep, whatever it may be. Find that place where you can help build your confidence and just stay there. And that's just one thing that really helped me get to the track, to where regardless of what race, I don't care if it's in front of 5 people or 50,000 people. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who's there. I'm going to have that same headspace wherever I'm at.
Yeah. You know, Marcus, I didn't even think about that you only had one shot and that's it. Yeah. I didn't put that together. So, I mean, before your race, I mean, do you meditate? I mean, do you go sit with some music on and just kind of, like you said, build yourself up? Or, and Madonna, you can answer this too.
If you mean exactly before the race, like when the umpire goes on your marks, I kind of have a series of breathing exercises that I do to just kind of slow my momentum and calm myself down before I get set. But if you're talking about before pre-warm up and different things like that, yeah, I have music. Like on the way to a track meet, I'm kind of in a more soft gospel, some jazz, just kind of a relaxed mode. But once I'm actually at a track and I'm warming up, that's when I kind of turn on the hip hop. That's when I'm starting to bob my head and just kind of get myself ramped up to kind of really get going. But that's just kind of my music routine, and that's just kind of what I do. But my breathing exercises is before I go up to the line is what's truly key, because for me, that I wouldn't say it's full on meditation, but it's just helps me personally get calm to be able to go out there and give my best.
What about you, Madonna? Do you have anything like that?
Marcus has taught me to have a routine.
Okay.
Yes.
Madonna, you don't have a routine. You just go up to the line and go. He gave me a homework assignment. This was just before. I think it was maybe 2 weeks before the race in July. Your homework is to come up with a routine. And I did. I came up with a routine. I've modified it since. But basically, I just try to keep myself calm, quiet, and I will be practicing, I'm sure, as we move forward. I will continue to practice my routine, practice getting set. That my start is something that needs to be worked on with my husband. And now that Marcus is my coach, I'm very good at accelerating, but my start, I've got to get out there. I've got to get out fast.
We will get it right.
Yeah. My coach is going to help
we will get it right.
To put everything together. Yes. I remember before the 100 meters, because like I said, I competed in the 50 meters and the 100 meters. I remember the last thing that Marcus said to me in the 100 meters. He was not, well, I guess he was stern. He said, don't overthink. That was his last piece of advice to me as he positioned himself so that he could watch the race. It was, don't overthink. Okay.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people get in their own heads. And for her, I know she's at her best when she's relaxed and free. I know I'm best when I'm relaxed and free. Sure. I'm not worrying so much. And I know for a fact that she is too, because I've seen it. I've seen her when she's overthinking, and I see how she executes, and it's not what we want. So I just have to kind of put that in her brain of just don't overthink. I'm not trying to make her overthink by telling her to overthink, but I know that when I tell her it, she can absorb the information and get to it, because she's just that type of athlete.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, so Madonna, I mean, was your husband an athlete, and was he a coach too during his time, or?
Yes, I was thinking I have thought about this. It's like, I can't get away from guys that have played basketball and ran track. My husband was a very good basketball player. Could have gone into the pros. He chose another route to teach, and he was on a very fast track team in Boston. There was a lot of good track talent that came out of Boston.
Really?
Oh yes. Oh, on the East Coast, Chris, come on.
Well, I just figured Boston, maybe just because it was more cold and stuff, that they wouldn't, produce a lot of speed up there. I've heard of Florida always producing athletes with some speed, but
Boston and New York. Oh yes.
Interesting.
Oh yes. A lot of speed, and a lot of talented basketball players have come to Boston too. And he played all sorts of sports, but he had a thing for track, basketball, and tennis. And like I said, he became my track coach when the sprinting seed began to tickle me in the inside. He went right with it, and did well. And he laid the foundation. And now Marcus is the architect who's building.
Yeah.
We don't. He's building the walls. We don't know how many floors because we don't know how fast I am going to be able to run, because remember, I've had injuries from a horrible car accident and a ruptured Achilles, and from the surgery, my foot is sort of numb because of the because the Achilles rupture was so severe that the surgeon had to wrap this muscle around here, and there was some nerve damage too. So most of my foot I can't feel. So that makes things challenging too. And Marcus and I have been working on that. So there's quite a bit going on, and yet I'm getting faster through all that. So for your listeners who sometimes will say, put themselves in the position of, well, I can't do this because. Well, I can't do this because. Well, you can see what has fallen into Marcus's lap. The oldest client he had with residual injuries from an accident, residual injuries from a ruptured Achilles, can barely feel my left foot on the ground, but yet we are steadily making progress. In fact, Marcus, my 100 meters, because I gave you a list of all of my times, we almost took 2 seconds off my 100-meter time.
Wow.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yes. Anything's possible.
So when you started, I know we're talking about, moving forward in progress, and if you're not forward, you're backwards, I guess. Did you change up your diet at all compared to what you were doing before you started this training, or did Marcus give you any nutrition tips, or what happened with that?
Yes, I received nutrition tips.
Okay.
I eat more proteins and carbs.
Gotcha.
I need it. I needed that. And yes, because I'm burning fuel. Food is fuel. Mm-hmm. And one dumb thing that I did, I bring up the dumb things. Oh, I ate too much before a practice. You remember that, Marcus? And yes, Marcus didn't say anything about it. Marcus takes videos and pictures of me. And Chris, I look like a bow constructor that just ate an adult gazelle. I mean, it was just, my stomach was sticking out. It was sticking out. And Marcus didn't say anything. But when I looked at the pictures that he took, I went, oh my gosh. And at the next practice, I said, Marcus, you didn't say anything. Come on. I look like I ate an adult gazelle. And he said, well, he wasn't going to say anything unless I showed up at practice again, with my stomach all, stuck out and stuff. Yes. So sometimes I just have to time when I'm going to eat, especially before we have a big practice where we're going to be working on speed work. I want to make sure I have the energy for that. But Marcus, what were you thinking? Because you didn't say anything, but what were you thinking when you saw my gut hanging out like that?
Honestly, I had no clue what to think because I know where your fitness level is at. And so I was like, there's no way that she should be looking like this. But maybe she just bloated. Maybe it's just one of them days. Who knows? But I just wanted to get the workout over, and I wanted to see you next time. And then when I saw you next time, it was confirmation. It was just one of those days. We were good.
That sounds like some A1 coaching right there. See?
Hey, I mean, sometimes as a coach, you don't have to comment on everything unless you see it enough to where you think it's an issue. Once in a while, things happen. You don't need to put it in the athlete's head of what's going on. If it goes away, then we're all good.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Yeah. It's just like we've been saying, mindset's everything. So if you can just get past those certain roadblocks, I think, you're pretty much golden, so to speak. So, Madonna, how long do you want to keep doing this, do you think? Do you want to, 10 years, 20 years down the road? I mean, I don't know how long the senior games are. I mean, is there an age limit that you can?
Thanks for bringing that up, Chris. The age limit is from 50 to 100 plus.
Nice.
There may be a big showdown in May between a woman who is 105 and a woman who is 100. That's the big talk. Oh, yes. The woman who is 105, let's see, she was 103 when she competed in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Her nickname is the Hurricane. She's out of New Orleans. She has broken world records in her age group. And a few weeks ago, a woman who is 100 broke her record. My gosh, Chris, listening to the two of them trash talk each other. There was a special on the National Senior Games, and the one that was 100, and she's 105 now, will be competing in November. And I'm sure she's going to do well. When they asked her what she thought about her record being broken, she said, oh, that's okay. I'll see her, and the woman who's 100 has a coach, and the woman who's 105, she doesn't have a coach. And she brought that up like, shoot, I don't have a coach. I never did have a coach, And so, that little smackdown talking there. Yeah. And the woman who's 100 didn't have anything to say because her coach is sitting next to her. But, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. And it's going to be an incredible race between, to see if the Hurricane will break her 100-meter record or her 50-meter record. And another amazing thing, which I was going to share with you, Marcus, the woman who was 100, who broke the Hurricane's record, she shattered the record in her age group in the 400 meters. She took 1 minute and 8 seconds off of the world record for the 400 meters for people who are 95 to 99 years old.
Wow.
A minute, 8 seconds.
That's impressive.
It's darn impressive to be. So when you ask about age, Chris, yes, you think about being nearly 100 years old and taking 1 minute and 8 seconds off a 400 meter tie. Now, Marcus, of course, runs 100 meters.
Probably less than 10 seconds or something.
Boom. But that's absolutely incredible to be, that age. And I will continue as long as I can. My gosh, I want to break some records too. I do. I want to break records, right, Marcus?
Yes, of course.
We would like to do that. So, Chris, as long as I'm healthy, and because I am determined, I am determined, very much so. So, as long as I'm healthy, I guess I've got a coach who's going to help me break some world records when I'm 80 years old, or who knows? Marcus and I might just be in the senior games at the same time. That is possible. That is very possible.
Yeah, I think on record, I think the oldest living person was 122. I think.
I think so.
Yeah. And I don't know if they were maybe from France. So. Do you know what a blue zone is?
Do I?
Yeah, either one of you. Yeah.
No, I don't.
So blue zones are some different parts of the world where they find that most people who can live be centurions and stuff, and they just were wondering. Yes. I think there's one. I think there might be one in America. I know there's one in Italy, and I think there's a few others. But
there's one in China. I think there's a couple in China.
Yeah. Well, I know Japan, not Okinawa. Forgot, but there is one in that's in Asia. I don't know if it's China or Japan, but yeah.
Scandinavian countries too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're doing different, if it's diets and just the air over there. But yeah, I mean, nothing's impossible at this point, it seems. So.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. And so I say we take it home on that and end this on a good note.
Okay.
That's all good.
Okay. So before we get off here, Madonna, Marcus, why don't y'all, whoever wants to go first, just tell people how they want to find out more about you or all that good stuff. How do they do? If you're on the socials, how do they do that? So.
Okay, Marcus, why don't you go first, and then I'll let them know how they can find me.
Okay, to find me, my Instagram is Marcus, Marcus Chambers, Chambers 400.
Nice. And
that is a way to kind of keep up with my journey of track and field as an athlete and as Madonna's coach. And yeah, Madonna, you could take it away.
Yes. I do have a social media presence because of Marcus. Yes, he's been helping me. I'm on Instagram, Madonna at Madonna Fit, Fast, and Fabulous.
Nice.
Yes. And Facebook, Madonna B. Hanna. I had no idea that there were so many Madonna Hannas in the world. So I am Madonna B. Hanna. And I have a website, dropkickthedrama.com.
Dropkick the Drama. What's that? You want to share a little bit more? We didn't even talk about any drama stuff. You want to talk about that real quick before we get off here? What is that about?
Well, it's actually about my speaking career, and me as an educator and speaking about anti-bullying in schools. And the Dropkick the Drama comes from a commencement speech that I gave to some high schoolers. I told them that as you transition from high school to the real world, you got to drop kick this drama that you've been involved in high school, because you need to be you need to be able to give to society. That's your role to whatever you're going to do, give back to your community and give back to the world community. So you got to drop kick the drama. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, plays a positive aspect back on society and their lives, and just put the drama aside. That's weird how much you put in your head just with. Sorry, something's stuck in my throat. It's you. Let me get a drink.
I was going to say, want some water, Chris?
I need some. Man. Okay, there we go. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, people will fill up their mind with just all this drama. And you'd be surprised if you just push that aside, like you're saying.
Exactly.
How much your mind will just be blown, it opens up. So, all right. We'll take this one home on that since I can barely talk right now since my throat is crazy. So, again, thank y'all for doing this. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I'll make sure I keep track of y'all and all that good stuff. And if y'all don't have nothing else, we'll take it home, like I said. So
sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Good.
And everybody out there, anything is possible.
Good deal.
Anything is possible. Yep.
Good deal. Nice. All right. Bye, everybody.